All right, good morning. I went live a couple minutes ago. Forgot to hit the button. Because of course I did. Okay, let me share the link. I'm also sucking on a cough drop. What am I doing? Oh yeah, Discord. I need a little bit more sleep. Oh my God, hi. Hello, how are you? Good morning. Not been able to connect in so long. Hello. Yeah, it's been a while. Hi, Dale. Art. Hello, Art. Hello, Seisha. I literally just woke up. I slept so late today. Sarah, that sounds amazing. And I'm completely jealous. Like, seriously, wish I had done the same. Good morning, Ember. How are you? Lying on my bed with my dog right now. I'm so cool. Yes, you are. Tired. Same. What am I looking for? Oh, yeah, right here. Also tired. Puppy cuddles are trying to put me back to sleep. I just forgot. I had to, cookies from my brother. Come back soon. All right, Art. Why is everyone tired? I mean, I am too, but there's no, no. It is absolutely possible for everyone to be tired. Absolutely. It's like, it's really weird how your body, you get out of high school and you've spent most of high school wanting to be around your friends and doing hobbies and proving responsibility and growing up, right? But then you get out of high school and you finally have the chance to do all those things at any time you want, pretty much, without school being in the way. And for a lot of us, we start working somewhere. I mean, I started working in high school, but a lot of people start working after high school. And then it's like you finally reach 21 and you spend maybe a year or two in that bliss of, I did it. I am a full-fledged adult. No one can treat me like a kid anymore. I can do all the things. I can vote. I can drink. I can drive. Not drink and drive. Please don't drink and drive. But you get what I'm saying. I can join the military. I can do all these things, right? I have all these rights. I can do all the things. No one can treat me as a kid anymore. I can go into any building that I want. You spend about a year reveling in that. And then your body hits 23 and it just goes, ooh, I just hit my glasses. And it just falls. There is never enough sleep. You are constantly reminded of the fact that you didn't sleep when you were younger and you probably should have. It just starts to fall apart. I don't know if it starts at 23 for everyone. For me, it started right around 34-ish when I started realizing that, holy crap, I am just always tired. Like, there is just never enough time in the day because I am always rushing and tired. Almost finished editing my novella yesterday, but my sister distracted me with shopping. Ha! Been up since 3:30. Good morning, Pepper. Good morning, Jessica. It's Monday. You're in sugar withdrawal. All right. Good morning, Alex. Adulting is totally overrated, but we don't believe anyone when they tell us that. That is something that we only believe after we see it. You're 15. $25 is when it started falling apart for you. Everything you fight for as a child, you don't want as an adult, right? I miss nap time too. Only because our parents lied, right? Totally go back to bed right now, but Emma has to finish getting ready, which means that I have to finish that process. Get to be a kid. I didn't really get to be a kid either because I was a runaway. You're turning 18 in 2 weeks and can relate. Existing is exhausting. It just is. Like, there is a person, another writer on Facebook. We're friends on Facebook. I don't know him very well. But I try to follow along with most of his stuff. Well, he's been homeless now for, I'm not sure how long, a couple of years. Him and his wife have both been homeless. And so a lot of their Facebook posts end up being something along the lines of like, we need a place to stay for the night, you know, and this hotel wants X number of dollars for the night or for the week or whatever the case may be, right? And he has a job. But he's been struggling physically, and he's not very old compared to me. And I realize I'm not very old compared to other people, but he's like 15 years younger than I am, I think. Give or take, like early 30s ish. Anyway, but he was talking before, and someone told him that his body would get used to it, that the reason he hurt so much after work is because he's homeless. And he's like, I don't think anyone understands how physically demanding it is to move your stuff from one hotel room to another when you have no place to live, and how just mentally exhausting it is trying to survive when you don't have a home that is safe. And your body does not get used to these things. It just doesn't, at least for some people. It's like, personally, I think he has some chronic illness happening that has been undiagnosed. But yeah, he made like this huge point about, look, existing is just exhausting. It just is. And if you don't get that, like, what are you doing here? Like, it's tiring. We go through a lot. 21 Homeless. You know how I was writing a book with my friend? Yes, we are pretty far up into the book by this point, but I also started writing 2 other things, one with another friend and another one alone. Nice. Yeah, I ran away from home at 15. I don't know how immortals do this for so long, right? I'm tired. Could you imagine? I would be so pissed if, like, someone bit me and they're like, haha, you're a vampire now. You're going to live forever. And I'd be like, I'd be so pissed. Like, I'm so tired. I don't want to be up all night. Lived in 3 motel rooms and 1 barn/art gallery/sewing shop. Buddhism be like, existing is exhausting and you will never be truly dead. I have you in all the windows, walked into the sun 5 minutes later. I'd be okay with it as long as all the chronic pain goes away once I'm a vampire. If it's still there, then I'm jumping in holy water, right? I'd rather just burn for 3 minutes and scream in utter agony than live forever with chronic pain. A lot of PTSD around yours. Yeah, I don't talk about that part of my life either, Sarah. Not very often. Every once in a while I'll say it. And then usually something like what Seisha says comes up like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Like, yeah. Because I don't talk about it often. Become a vampire or stay with garlic bread. I'm going to have to pick garlic bread. Hello, Kimmy. How are you? Cannot take my garlic, right? I'd be really pissed off about that too. Garlic bread, mine. Stepsister wrote about her runaway experience. I don't think I'm ever going to write about mine. I mean, I did kind of, sort of, but I'm not publishing that book. It's really difficult to find garlic bread here, so I'm going to go with being a vampire. Okay. Fair. Happy birthday, Kimmy. You look like you straight from the candy kingdom. Okay. I put garlic in almost everything. I would die quickly. What is runaway? English is not my first language, so I didn't understand runaway. Run away from home. So sometimes, I don't know what the stats are here in the United States. I don't know what the stats are anywhere else, but sometimes kids and parents, the kids run away from home. It's usually because of, well, it depends on the timing, I guess, because there were a lot of runaways in the 60s and early 70s, but those were like running away to join a cause of some sort or whatever. But sometimes it's run away because the kids are getting into trouble, like getting into drugs, falling in with the wrong crowd type of thing, getting into trouble. Sometimes kids run away because their homes are not safe. Sometimes the kids run away because, like in my case, my parents were just abusive liars. And I tried running away a couple of other times, but at 15 is when it stuck. I know other people who have run away because they were, for example, trans, and their parents just made their lives absolute torture, as they were, just trying to live. Home not safe. But I wouldn't put that on par with like abuse, because that is so much, there's abuse, not feeling safe because you might get hurt, and then there's, your parents hate you and are actively probably trying to kill you. Like it's not the same. But it's another reason why sometimes people run away from home. So when you run away from home as a kid, you end up, again, depending on where you live, you end up with a lot of, you got to grow up real fast because you have to figure out how to take care of yourself. And one of the things that I was lucky with, and that I had a lot of privilege that a lot of other runaways didn't have, was that I ran away in Connecticut. So, and I was in kind of a small town, Connecticut, where everybody knew everybody and nobody liked my parents. So my teachers were there to help me. And even though I got kicked out of high school, they got me back in with my class. I still got into National Honor Society because I was that kind of a nerd. But like my cross country coach helped me find a job and an apartment. And the law at the time was, if you were over 15 and were able to support your basic living expenses, they couldn't force you back into your home. You didn't have to get legally emancipated, which I did not do. You could sue for legal emancipation. I never bothered to do that. But it was just a matter of, as long as your parents knew where you were and you were taking care of yourself and you were over 15, they couldn't force you back home at the time. So that's what I did. I ran away from home a few times because my family was really abusive. My son ran away to the driveway when he was 2 because I didn't let him eat cake for dinner. Hi, Taylor. It was a fad for the last 20 years too, really. Abuse is the main reason. I would say you're probably right, Pepper. Good morning, Kathy. Characters don't have moms because she threw me out. Had cake for breakfast. That's awesome. Got it. I ran away from my home. Oh, police find you and take you home until she threw me out. Got a lot of people that are willing to help. I ran away my senior year because my grandfather slapped me, and that was my breaking point. Wow, Taylor, I'm sorry. Hello, Franco. Lucky duck there. I wish police still tried to take me home when I was 18. Be right back, because I made my coffee and I forgot my stevia. I wish I live in Pokemon universe, so I don't job home or anything, just hanging around. Kicks a 5-year-old's bug. As soon as I put the girls in school with house, my mom was all like, come home, I need you to take care of your brothers. Hello, it's been a while since I've caught a live. It's Damien. Damien, how are you? It has been a long time. Traumatic life equals writer. I think a lot of times, yes. That doesn't necessarily mean that every writer has had a traumatic life. And it doesn't necessarily mean that everyone who has had a traumatic life becomes a writer. But that is one really solid way of processing your trauma. Even sometimes you don't even know what parts are trauma. Like you expect there's certain things that you're like, yep, that was traumatic. Really easy to label. Like, yep, that traumatized me. But there are other things that come out when you're writing that you hadn't fully processed yet. And you're like, wow, I didn't realize how traumatic that actually was. Doing well, though I learned I have to have another surgery on my hand. So I guess things remain the same. Oh, you're going to get through it just like you did the last time. You're going to come through and you're going to recover, probably maybe not as fast as last time, but you're going to recover. It's going to be great. And then you're going to be writing again in no time. And all of a sudden we're going to be hearing about your 15,000 word days and how you've written 7 chapters in a night. I wrote my childhood in a book, printed it out, then burned it 1 page at a time. Recovery time is not as long. Okay, awesome. Something that are traumatic in my life and people just look at me like I'm crazy. Are you traumatized? I just look at them puzzled. Yeah, sometimes you don't recognize it. Writing slowed down massively in the last 6 months. I know. I don't want you to feel bad about that. Broke 54,000 last night. Awesome. I'm really glad you're back. I just joined a self-publishing support Facebook group. An editor woman randomly texted me, keeps asking about my book that isn't even finished. Anyone who's like randomly texting you, I mean, I guess it's up to you. I personally am like turned off by that. Dark humor is my flavor. My friends look concerned. It's been difficult, things moving up and down, but I'm trying to branch back out again. Well, I'm glad you're back, and I totally get it. And you don't owe me or anyone else any explanation. We're here when you need us. That's the best humor, though. Unrelated, but like, would it help me practice my Spanish if I tried writing a small story in Spanish? Probably. Spanish is one of those languages that for me, it like, the more you are able to immerse yourself in it, the easier it is to stick with it. So like, I've had this on-off thing with Spanish. I took it for years in high school, and I was pretty good for a white girl in Connecticut who took Spanish from another white lady in Connecticut. Okay, I'm not fluent, but I was pretty conversational. And then after high school, I didn't use it like at all. It was almost 5 years before I was using it again, because someone at the radio station I worked at was Spanish speaking. And so I was able to talk to them. But it took a while for everything to come back. And even then, I was much better at reading it and saying it than I was at hearing it. Although I wonder if that's because of my auditory processing thing that I didn't know I had. But anyway, it was so like they would have to slow way down to talk to me for me to be able to understand them. And that's so bad, I know, but they had to slow way down for me to understand them, but then I could talk to them. But then I didn't use it for another few years after that. And then at another job, there was Spanish speakers at that job. And at first, and it started all over again, where like I had to learn it. They had to slow down. I was better at reading it and saying it than I was at hearing it. But it started like the more I talked to them, the more it came back. So will it help you? Yes, it'll help you memorize how they conjugate verbs and certain phrases and things like that. Will it help you with speaking it? I don't know. But your brain will be using it and making those translations and stuff. So it will help. I just don't know to what degree. Hi. That is French for you, and you are French. ADHD has sound processing issues. Yeah, I got diagnosed a couple years ago. In terms of progress with writing, I am close to the end of book 8 now. Yay! Have to practice your Spanish daily, like hubby and me made a rule: no fighting unless it's in another language. Our language use improved, but mine was Spanish and his was Russian. I only did covers and had to add a column to my spreadsheet so I could remember which ones I did. I wish I had gotten to use the German more often that I took in school. We were never offered German. I wish I could have been offered German. You're Mexican, live in Mexico, but my English is still far superior. Naomi asking here is cheering you on for encouragement. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. If I'm saying, hey, tell me about your book, it's because I want to know about it. It's because I'm taking an actual interest and because I want to get the conversation rolling. Tell me about your book. If I'm sliding into your DMs and I'm like, hey, tell me about your book, and I don't know you, and I just happen to randomly see you in a writing group and you're a new person, that's someone who's going to be pitching something. I just found out my left ear lags behind processing what it hears. Wow. Sure, I have ADHD, but diagnosing is so expensive. I know TikTok explaining more about things that are ADHD that I didn't know has been validating. It was through distance learning. My teacher was in Haddam Killingworth and I was in Clinton, and it was over like cameras, like a Zoom call before there was a Zoom. I need to clean out my Facebook groups. I've fully gone ahead and separated my protagonist and main character. It's been an experience for sure. A lot of libraries offer free language app with your library card. I didn't know that. Well, that's cool. I didn't know that. I would like to refresh my Spanish. My stepmother is Mexican from Juarez. And so talking to her, whenever I get to talk to her a lot, it comes back. But she doesn't speak Spanish. She speaks Spanglish. And so, like, I catch up with her a lot more easily. But my half-sister, her daughter, she didn't want to learn a different language. She used to hate how in school they made her choose a language, and she had to take 2 years. She had to have 2 credits of a different language, and she didn't want any of them. So She had the choice between Spanish, French, and German, and she didn't want any of them. She didn't want to learn anything. And her mom, being from Mexico, was like, "Why don't you learn Spanish?" So she did, to please her mom, and she bare minimum for passing, because she did not like it. She did not like being in there at all. Pizza for breakfast, awesome. And audiobooks. Also Chinese, Latin, I believe Russian, and a few others. I was in Spain for the 22nd and 26th of February, just gone. You know, it always, I always get a twinge of jealousy and kind of like a shock every time I'm like watching something on YouTube or something. Like the Welsh twins, for example. I was watching one of their videos and they're like, actually, you know, I just trotted down to Tenerife, you know, a couple of months ago for, you know, so I could go pick up this backpack. And I was like, wait, that's what? Or like talking to someone else and they're like, yeah, so like I just ran down to Paris real quick. Wait, you're not from France? And it just boggles my mind how free it must feel to be able to just like jot across the country. Like here, they do not like it if we go to Mexico. And when I lived in El Paso, it wasn't that bad, but at that time we still had an open border. So it wasn't that bad. You had border patrol there, but like you could go down there to get your teeth fixed, and they have really good dentists in Juarez. Like you can go down there, you could eat. They had like these pavilions where you could like shop and eat and whatever, and it was like really nice. But then it was such a pain in the butt to come back. Like they had to like search your car and make sure you weren't like smuggling in tobacco. Like it was, you were in line for like 8 hours. Like it was awful. They make it so hard to do. And then I listened to people who are in Europe and they're like, oh yeah, so I spent the afternoon over here in this other country. And I'm just like, damn, I'm jealous. Forced to learn Russian. We didn't even like it. Options here are English, French, and Japanese for second language when you reach high school. Nice. Spain is only an hour flight to the northernmost part and 2.5 to the southern. Wow. I learned one phrase in Russian. I can't spell it, but it means no touch. Used to love going to Mexico so easily. Yeah, I miss it. When they started putting up that wall, not Trump's wall, Bush's wall, Bush Jr.'s wall. When they started putting up Bush Jr.'s wall, and they closed down the border, and you could see them putting up a wall around the American embassy from the U.S. So we were in the U.S. and we would look out on Scenic Drive and you could see into Juarez, and they started putting the wall up around the embassy because it was before Trump's wall, which still isn't even there because Trump's wall is where no one lives. But it was so sad to me to see this big old ugly wall go up, like around the American embassy. Like, to me, I don't know. It was just sad. And then it became such a nightmare to go across the border. And it's not even just like, I know there's like all of this other stuff around the southern border of the United States. There's racism, there is hatred of brown people around there. Like I want to say I understand why it's so hard, but I don't, because it shouldn't be, because they're racist. But it's also hard around the northern border in Canada. Like, I have friends in Rhode Island who are like, yeah, so the border goes right through our town. And now if we want to walk across town to get to whatever shop or whatever, like, they have to go through all of these customs checks and everything just to walk across the town because the Canadian border is right there. And I don't know how much of that is our own border policies that we have and how much of that is Canada going, no, like, you know what? Hey, we're a little tired of your politics. Like, I don't know how much of that is that. But now all of a sudden this little town has had to like double up on everything because you can't just trot across town to get something. And it was a small town to start with. Immersing yourself in music from the language you're trying to learn is also good. Very true. Border wall. Bush started a wall. Bush Jr. is the one who started. I don't know if he started. It's been a problem for a while, but Bush Jr., I remember he ran on, he was going to close the southern border. He was going to close it up. I'll try to be here more often in the future. It's always nice to sit here and chat with you. Damien, I'm so glad, but you do have to fly. I get it. Thank you so much for popping in. If it's the same town, you should have to go through that, right? You got worse after 9/11. I keep forgetting that you used to live in Texas, and every time you say it, I'm like, oh, right. Yay. Yeah. I lived in El Paso. So El Paso is like the forgotten, I don't know, the forgotten part of Texas. Texas doesn't even like El Paso. It's actually kind of sad that when I went to get my visa, I lost my visa when I came back from the US when I was 10. I was one of the only people who actually got it approved. Hola, hola. Well, we're supposed to be talking about writing and publishing. So you got any questions? Hey, Naomi. Hello. How are you? El Paso, the Gen X city of Texas. Exactly. Yes. There has never been a more accurate description of El Paso. Ever. Yes. Shakira was a big help in my Spanish, but I also listen to a lot of other Spanish music. Now I have Latin Station on my Pandora. Nice. Which country is my favorite? I don't know if I have a favorite. I've always wanted to go see the UK. Well, I don't know if that's fair to say, because I've never had like a burning desire to go see Wales, but like I wouldn't mind seeing Wales. I've always wanted to see England. I've always wanted to see France. I've always wanted to see Spain, Italy. Like there's a bunch of places I want to go. I want to go check out Egypt. I don't know. But the only countries I've been to are Canada, the United States, and Mexico. Well, unless you count Germany. I was born in Germany, but I don't remember it because we moved back stateside by the time I was 2. So there are pictures out there somewhere in existence of me as a baby in Germany, but I don't remember it at all. Scotland. I'd love to go see Scotland. As a Mexican, I am very offended by the idea that Shakira has good music. Well, my Mexican stepmother loves her, and I like her. I found my book that I thought was deleted on a random laptop I forgot I had. Yay! Oh, that had to feel so good. What's your thoughts on pseudo-write and novel crafter? The algorithm have been sending them your way this last week. Okay, so okay. I have not yet perfected any kind of prompting that has made it so that when I put in my own creative prompt and watch something like pseudo-write and novel crafter do their thing, that I like what it brought out. But it has like bounce potential. That's the word I'm looking for. Hi, I do words. Bounce potential, meaning that there have been times that I like So I sit down and I know what I want to write, right? So I set up my outline of I want this to happen, this to happen, this to happen, this to happen. And I have not, before anyone like comes at me, no, I have not used Pseudowrite or Novel Crafter to write and publish a book. But I have been testing, because why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I test things out when I have clients who want to use those things? So obviously I need to test to be able to learn how they work and learn which is best and so on and so forth. That, and I am just, God, you give me a beta test and I'm so happy. I love testing new software. So that said, okay, I have not yet found a way where I have my outline, and my outlines are pretty detailed. Like my latest story, when I was outlining, it was almost 12,000 words in the outline. That's before I started writing the actual book. So my outlines get pretty detailed. But when I put a part of my outline into Pseudowrite, first, I don't necessarily like what they come up with. Like, I don't like what gets generated back out. And it doesn't always match my outline. Second, they go off. Like, when they get through the points of your outline, then they always end up adding something else. Always. Which I don't understand. Third, no matter how detailed my outlines are, they don't match my voice. Like, I'm rereading it going, that's not how I would have written this. So for me, in that sense, it doesn't really work. All that said, though, even if it did work, I still wouldn't publish it. Primarily because the law still supports that your book, anything you create, if you want it to be covered by copyright, it has to be created by you, and or it has to be, if it was assisted by AI, then it has to have been edited and converted and changed enough to say that it came from you. It has to, like, you have to go in and edit. So even if I did like what it was bringing out, I still wouldn't publish it, because I wouldn't be able to protect it, because it wouldn't be considered legally mine. So I'm not on board with using AI to write books, but I'm not against using AI to help with your other processes, such as coming up with other ideas. If you go into like Pseudowrite or Novel Crafter and you've got half an outline for a chapter and you've got like a couple of chapter beats, I know that both of those I know that Pseudowrite, you can put in some generic details, like I want this to happen, and you can have it generate an outline. I'm not against that. You can have it generate other ideas, beat points, have it, offer up directions. I'm not against that. The only part that I would not personally use would be the, okay, now write the whole chapter, and then grab that chapter, copy, paste, publish. I would not do that. I stayed in Guatemala, and the indigenous pyramids and ruins are gorgeous. Oh, I bet. Wait, do you speak German? I do not. Do not go to the UK. I've been there several times, and it's awful. Like, it's beautiful, but it's also an awful experience. So a writer sent me a joke. What's the difference between a villain and being evil? So many. I am in Canada, and I don't want to be here. I want to go see Germany, Italy, Spain, Netherlands, Estonia, and a few others. Hello, Elson. You speak German? I do not. What did I miss about the UK? I said I wanted to go to the UK. Seisha faster than me. Hi, Elson. They need to move the hidden button. Right? You are there. IDK, if you can help with this, but thoughts on visual novels. I'm not entirely sure what a visual novel is. If you can explain that to me. I gotta go. Y'all have a great day. Taylor, have a great day. Thoughts on using AI to get ideas for my character? Pretty much just answered that. I use character AI when my brain is stuck on characters. AI is horrible at writing a story, but as a tool is pretty good. AI seems like a great brainstorming tool. Agreed. Organize. Yeah, it can help you organize your brainstorming. It's really good at that. I've also had really good luck with things like copying a blog post and then going over to ChatGPT and saying, like, here's the content of a blog post that I wrote that is about XYZ. My hair is falling out. Can you please generate or like, here's the content of a blog post that I wrote. I want to post this blog post onto Pinterest. Can you please generate a pin title and a pin description? It's been really good about taking my blog post and summarizing certain parts and making it sound exciting. Or it's good for that. It's also good for like generating, if I go in there and I say, hey, I'm putting together, like right now, I'm building, I am building a few different offers. I'm building an author's blogging intensive, which is going to be a course that teaches authors how to set up their blog on WordPress or Shopify and how to, like the technical parts of how to do the blog itself, but also some strategic, like how to put in the SEO and how to format stuff and how to apply form. I just said formatting, but how to put like how to promote it on social media, things along those lines, right? So that's one offer that I'm building. And then I've got this other one that is a toolkit that is like 52 blogging templates where I wrote, y'all, I wrote 52 blog post templates in a week and I don't want to blog anymore. But they're meant to be like copy, paste, and tweak, like where you can copy the blog post template into your blog and then tweak it to match you, like your genre, your book titles, so on and so forth, right? Replace certain placeholders with your actual information and stuff. And what was good was I could take these things, and there's a bunch of other stuff that I'm creating too, but I could take these things, go into ChatGPT and say, hey, these are all the offers that I have, this and this and this and this. I need names for these offers that don't all sound alike. I want them to be like separate offers so that people aren't buying one and then wondering which one they're getting, kind of thing. ChatGPT has been really good about helping me come up with names for these things. Or headlines for my blog. When I go into my blog to create a headline for something, ChatGPT is really good at helping me like reword something if I use too many characters, for example. You ever like get stuck because you have a very short space and you know what you want to say, but you can't think of a shorter way to say what you needed to say, but you just have this short space? ChatGPT is really good about like, okay, copy, paste, put in what it is I want to say, and then I ask it, can you rewrite this to be under whatever, 100 characters or whatever it is? And it does that really well. A digital novel game with character images and a dialogue. Player reader can make a choice and drive the story. Oh, okay. Cool. A game where you can interact with it. All right, we just used to call that Choose Your Own Adventure. And it was like a print book, not like there was nothing visual. It was a print book, and it was, you would get to the end of a decision point and it would say, do you choose this? Go to page this. Do you choose this? Go to page that. So it was Choose Your Own Adventure. I used to try to get all the different endings. We love you, Naomi. 52 templates in a week. Amazing. I still have to finish formatting them and then putting together the rest of the course and whatnot. But, ooh. Where could I hypothetically find these templates? Nowhere yet, because they're not for sale yet. But I will let you know when they are. I like your beautiful short hair. Well, hello, Anna. Thank you so much. Doki Doki Literature Club, this light novel, so meta. Emu Laura has a novel that uses traditional text, graphic novel, and a music CD, if I remember correctly. It was called Laws of Love. Ah. All right, y'all. Yeah, Art mentioned the Doki Doki Literature Club. I've been burnt out, so been playing Fae Farm the last 3 days. Oh, I feel that. Oh no, you're out of coffee beans. I am so sorry. You are so beautiful. Thank you. You look beautiful today. Thank you. Where can I find Laws of Love thing? I think try Amazon or any bookstore, but I think try Amazon. I hate cooking. Shout out. Join the conversation. I love your hair. It's so pretty. Thank you. I have a question for you. Okay. Amazon, but I don't know if it is still in print, so you might have to look at used books. Roll on the floor, Naomi, your responses to those. It's a bit tedious, but I'm getting used to it. Made my own jelly yesterday, eating it right now. It's so good. Awesome. How old am I? I'm old. My husband and I just finished our first novel. Yay! I'm looking amongst my friends for beta readers, and I'm not sure my friends are my audience. Maybe 5 people. Any advice? Okay, so first of all, sit down because you're right. Don't ask just anybody. You're absolutely right. So right now, you need advice from one of 2 people. There's only one of 2 people that you need advice from. One is a professional from somewhere within the industry. So that might be another author who has slightly more experience than you. That might be an editor, like a freelance editor who does manuscript critiques, or it might be an editor who works at a publishing house, like an acquisitions editor, or maybe a literary agent. So if any of your friends work in the publishing industry in some way, they're okay to ask. And what that editorial feedback gives you is structure and market feedback. Basically, not market feedback as in like your readers are going to love this, but market feedback is in like these are the trends that we're seeing that sell type of stuff. They can tell you whether or not your book works. They can tell you whether or not your book will sell, basically. So that's the first kind of feedback. If you don't have feedback from there, the other one is your ideal reader. So when you sit down, really think about who your ideal reader is. I like to get very specific. It's not just a matter of demographics. Demographics divide. They're they separate and divide people into little groups, and you may not be going after a little group. So I like to use psychographics more so, which is based on like interests. Anything that might lead to your book. Like, for example, earlier we were talking about various traumas, including runaways. That would potentially be a psychographic. If you were writing a book, whether it be you're writing a book and your ideal and your protagonist was a runaway and surviving. If you're writing a memoir about your own story, or if you're writing about your best friend who ran away or something along those lines. That might be one of the psychographics that you use to identify your ideal reader then, is other runaways who would be able to relate to your protagonist the most, and or would need to hear the underlying message of, hey, even though you had to do it on your own when you were younger, you're not on your own anymore. You've got support and help, and so on and so forth. So really think about who needs your book the most, and try to think about it in not just anyone who reads fantasy from the ages of 18 to 95, because that's not going to work. Any of your friends who match that would also work. The feedback that they can give you is if the story works. So one tells you if the story will sell, the other tells you if the story works for them. The reason you don't want to talk to just anybody is because talking to just anybody, especially friends and family who love you, support you, they end up feeling obliged to give you feedback, regardless of anything. And they usually want to give you positive feedback that they think is going to be super helpful. So you go and you ask your mom reads the book and then comes back and says, well, it's not really my thing, but chapter 4 didn't work for me. And now what the hell are you supposed to do with that? Okay, chapter 4 didn't work for you. Why? Whereas your ideal reader would be like, well, in chapter 4, this part fell apart because I wouldn't have done that. I would have done this. Now you've got something a little bit more concrete that you can work with, and you can decide whether or not to apply their feedback or not. So that's why you want it to match your ideal reader as close as possible. Now, typically, the closer the match to your ideal reader that you have, that's why you have to start with that. Start by defining that ideal reader. The closer you are, the fewer you need. So if you've got, say, 3 or 4 people who are in your family and friend circle who match, like down to a T, match your ideal reader, that's probably all you need. You probably don't need any more than those 3 or 4. If you've got, say, 1 who matches your ideal reader, but then you've got like maybe a few more who don't quite match, like they're close, but they're just not quite. They may not understand certain parts. Then you need more. So at that point, you would need to expand to maybe 15 beta readers to help overlap the parts that they're not going to relate to, and to help remove any knowledge gaps. If the more you have, the more your story is covered, especially if there are parts that reader just isn't going to be able to relate to for one reason or another. It'll overlap with other readers so that your whole story can be covered. So the closer they are to your ideal reader, the fewer readers you actually need for that part. The further you get away from your ideal reader, the more you need to help cover your story. Does that all make sense? I feel like I'm rambling, and if I am, I'm sorry. Kylie, good morning, Kylie. Hello, Lucas. Pepperoni. I'm a writer, that's what I do. Today, just Witcher's official translated version released here. People criticize translation, they just translated the title. Is it bad? I'm out of coffee, and my first thought was drinking some of my wine. Writing a murder mystery where you don't find out she didn't kill him till halfway through the book. 18 to 95 goals. I will never read my book to my family. My mom reads through my books and looks through my art, and she's always so far away from my demographic that all her criticism ends up like, well, yeah, that's what I was going for. I thought that my father had been pushing my book to his friends because he liked it, said it was better than the one I did at 13. Well, that's good. All right, y'all. It is about that time. I have to run. So, hang on 1 second. I think, I don't remember. Here. 11, okay, 11 o'clock my time. Word. Office hours. Do y'all mind if we move office hours to tomorrow? Because I have a couple of things that I have to do today, including I'm speaking at a summit today for coaches, and then I have a training call with Rachel today, and then I have an announcement with another client today, and they all kind of overlap. So it would either be like a 20-minute office hours, or it would be like, move it to another day. So do y'all mind if we move it to tomorrow? What's office hours? So I have a free Discord for people 16 and older to join the Discord. And it's a free writing group. Within that writing group, I have, look, my cat got me. Within that writing group, I have Word, which is W or D, Write or Die, which is a paid subscription. And we do office hours, which is where we sit on a Zoom call and they ask questions, and it's kind of a private Q&A. And we get to go into a few more details, and it can be, because it's on Zoom and not like on YouTube, it can be like we could share our screens. Like if they're setting up a newsletter and they don't know how to do something, I can show them on the technical end. Like they can share their screen and I can walk them through things. So that works. I'm doing Camp Nano stuff. All right, awesome. Tomorrow clock Word. Perfect. So everyone else, thank you so much for hanging out with me this morning and asking all of your questions. I hope you have an amazing day, and I will talk to you tomorrow morning. Okay? Bye.